Ladies and gentlemen, we are finally here in early February. I apologize for my procrastination, and we have the award show today. Going to take as little of your time as I can here, but I'm just going to quickly go over the awards we are covering today. We have the All-BFL First Team Offense, which will be consisting of 6 players. We have the All-BFL First Team Defense, which will also be consisting of 6 players. We have 5 accolade awards, which are Most Improved, Most Clutch, the Dedication Award, the Leadership Award, and the Sportsmanship Award. And then, of course, we have the 5 awards that everyone knows. We have Coach of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year, and, of course, Most Valuable Player. And let's get right into it. BFL awards are finally here, and we're going to start things off right away with the first team offense. Jaden Neptune at quarterback. I think this was a no question. He led the league in rushing yards and rushing touchdowns, as well as threw for 21 touchdowns and 1,500 yards. Right there with him, these are in no particular order. Jahira Seals, I think this was also no doubt. He was 3rd in the league in passing touchdowns, and he most notably did not turn the ball over once all season, which is just absurd. He was also 2nd in the league in rushing touchdowns, and to seal it all off, he was a Super Bowl winning quarterback, so I think that there's just no doubt in my mind that he deserves that spot. And now for the receivers, we've got Hunter Hohenschad. There was just no question that he deserved this. He had a crazy playoff run. Would have liked to see Montreal make it deeper into the playoffs, but I believe he had 11 touchdowns in the playoffs, which is absurd, especially considering that they only put up, I think, 6 in the last game. He had over 1,100 yards. This was just no doubt that he deserved to be on the team. Liam Ryan was also a first-team wide receiver, and I don't think that anyone is going to question that one. He had exactly 1,000 yards. He had 16 touchdowns, and ladies and gentlemen, he only did it in 10 games. Absolutely absurd season from him. Scranton has still yet to lose a game while he is in attendance. And although I do feel bad leaving Matt Blair off of the first team, I do think that he really deserved a spot. However, I did give myself the nod. Personally, I think I deserved it. Call me what you want for giving myself awards, but 7 rushing touchdowns, 11 receiving touchdowns, 1,100 yards, led the league in receptions by 15. Gonna stop glazing myself here, but just wanted to throw out some numbers. And finally up there with another ridiculous stat line, Ryan Beltran. Definitely deserved it. He didn't hit 1,000 yards, but let's just be honest here. He had probably the best wide receiver 2 in the league, taking a bunch of targets away from him. He led the league in receiving touchdowns. He had 26 receptions and 19 touchdowns. That's absurd. That's 75% of the time he catches the ball. Almost 80, it's a touchdown. And he also had 375 rushing yards and 5 touchdowns on the ground. And now we will move on to first team defense. A lot less competitive in my opinion. Leading it off is Day Hayes. I mean, he gets on just from that week 1 performance alone. He had 4 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, bunch of tackles. Definitely deserving. He led the league in interceptions. Max Lilac gets on there as well. Definitely, I think, one of the best corners in the league, if not the best. Definitely deserving. He had 20 tackles and 3 interceptions, as well as taking back 2 of those for touchdowns. Definitely deserving. I'm going to skip down to his teammate while I have the stats up right here, Chris Kazenik. Probably the most controversial pick here, but definitely deserved it. 3 interceptions as well, right up there with the league leaders, had 2 touchdowns, and was up there on the jammers in tackles. He had 18, which was 2nd on the team, and of course, first place being Max. Anyway, moving down the list now, we have Kieran Jurgensen, 3rd in the league in tackles, was up there in passes defended, pass breakups, whatever you want to call it. He had 14. He only had 1 interception, and he took it back for a touchdown. Would like to see more interceptions, but honestly, he wasn't really targeted, other than in the playoffs, which as a fellow Tennessee player, I do not want to talk about. Moving on, we have Joey Mazzola, led the league in passes defended, led the league in tackles. The only thing that is really stopping him is the fact that he didn't get any interceptions. He did have 2 punt return touchdowns, which is definitely worth noting. I would probably consider that defense, just because we don't really have special teams in BFL. but great season from Joey. Showed a lot of improvement, could definitely contend for most improved later on in the video. And realistically, will also definitely contend for Defensive Player of the Year. I'll tell you right now, he's a finalist. The only thing that's really holding him back is the fact that he didn't get any interceptions. And finally, Jay McLeod, he led the Washington Wolves in tackles with 28. He was right up there leading the league with 7 sacks, 5 passes defended, had a tackle for loss for a safety. I mean, just all around leader of that Washington Wolves defense and had a very good season. And now moving on to the actual awards. First off, we're going to start with the Sportsmanship Award. And there was one guy that came to mind. No one else really even contended for this. He literally broke up a fight in the first round of the playoffs. Your Sportsmanship Award winner is Jack Gish. And next up, we have Most Dedication. This, on the other hand, was definitely more contention. I'd like to give a shout out to the Jammers organization before I announce this award. I did end up going with a player/announcer who helped out subbing when the opportunity showed itself and was a frequent announcer for us, and his help was greatly appreciated. Your Most Dedication Award winner is Jonah Baker-Flora. Our next award here is Most Clutch, and there was really 2 here for me. I would give a honorable mention to Chris Kazenek. He always seemed to come up with a clutch interception when the Jammers needed it. He had a game-winning touchdown against my Tennessee Tigers in week 1. But the Most Clutch Award winner, this player, was seemingly always making a tackle to save a touchdown. He had more than one game-winning touchdown catch, and he had the game-winning touchdown catch in the Super Bowl. Your Most Clutch Award winner is Luke Vaughn. Now, next up here, we have Most Improved, and obviously, there was one team that really stood out when it came to improvement, and that is the Georgia Grizzlies. I thought about handing this to Joey Mazzola. He showed a lot of improvement, but I think someone that improved even more than he did over the course of the season is Dre Ball. So he is your Most Improved Award winner. Now, next up here, I talked about him earlier in the video, but there was really one player that stood out when it came to the Leadership Award, and there was really no doubt in my mind. This player came into a team that was pretty disorganized. They had a really hard time getting people to come to the field. He showed up for every game and really took a leadership role. The Leadership Award winner is Jay McLeod. Now we get into the 5 major awards. We're going to start off with Rookie of the Year, and some people may be thinking, it's the first season, how do you even decide who's a rookie? Everyone's a rookie. So it's going to come down to the 2 best seasons, which are Liam Ryan and Ryan Beltran. And to me, given the fact that he played 5 more games, I'm going to give the Rookie of the Year award to Ryan Beltran. Now, next up, we have an award that'll actually make some sense. It's the Coach of the Year award, and this coach led his team from a losing record all the way to the Super Bowl. You already know who it is. Zawad Khan is our Coach of the Year. And as we get into the major 3 awards, we'll be starting off with Defensive Player of the Year first. We're going to have 3 finalists. First up, in no particular order, Max Lilac from the Jacksonville Jammers. 20 tackles, 3 interceptions. Took 2 of those interceptions back for touchdowns, 7 passes defended. Say no more. He definitely deserves a spot as a finalist. Next up, mentioned 3 times now, Joey Mazzola. Led the league in tackles, led the league in passes defended. Had 2 punt return touchdowns, which definitely means something. And finally, last but not least, we have Kieran Jurgensen, who was 3rd in the league in tackles, right up there in passes defended, had an interception, took it back for a touchdown. And out of those 3, your Defensive Player of the Year is going to be Kieran Jurgensen. Our next award is going to be Offensive Player of the Year, and this was probably the most competitive award. I'd just like to give a shout out to Hunter Hohenschad, who did not make the top 3, but definitely deserves an honorable mention. In no particular order, the 3 contestants for this award are Ryan Beltran, who we already discussed it. I mean, the man caught 26 balls, and 80% of them were touchdowns. So he definitely deserves some consideration, did a lot of work on the ground as well. We have Jaharis Seals, who Super Bowl winning quarterback, didn't throw an interception, second in the league in rushing. And finally, we have Jaden Neptune, who was up there with his passing stats and led the league in rushing touchdowns as well as rushing yards. Did a good job limiting his turnovers. And out of those three, your offensive player of the year is going to be Jaden Neptune. And coming up last year, we have the Most Valuable Player Award, the Most Coveted Award, and your three finalists in no particular order are Ryan Beltran. We already said it, did a lot of rushing for his team, had 26 catches, 19 of them were touchdowns, almost 1,000 yards. Is also one of, if not the best corners in the league, plays very physical on defense, which is very important to be able to play both sides of the ball if you're going to win an MVP award. I will state that right now. You'll notice it's a trend. It is very hard to win an MVP award if you are just good on one side of the ball. Anyway, moving on here, our second candidate is Liam Ryan. I mean, he played 10 games with Scranton. They won all 10 of them. They went 3-5 without him. Definitely has a strong case for MVP just by that. He also, in the Super Bowl, locked up Ryan Beltran, played very good defense, as well as great offense to lead them to a Super Bowl victory. And finally in there, we have myself, Sam Morse. Definitely has the edge in counting stats. Led the league in receptions, was up there in touchdowns, up there in yards, second, I believe. Also had a very good run balance there and some of the best defensive stats in the league. But only one man can win it. And I think no surprise here, your MVP award winner is Liam Ryan.